In Habersham, Rayburn, and Stevens County. This is until 12:30 as we've seen some very strong thunderstorms and possible rotation within this storm. Let's zoom in here and get you caught up with the latest. In fact, we're going to stop this all this rainfall coming in, stop that loop, and let's do a quick scan on it here. Let's take a look at where this storm is going. If you are in the path of this storm, this is a very strong thunderstorm with possible rotation. You want to take cover immediately. Treat this as if it is a tornado warning. It'll be in Sky Valley at 11:50. That's basically right now. So the leading edge of this is in Sky Valley. Some of the stronger winds just behind that, about 3-4 minutes away. Also in Franklin at 12:17 and in Bryson City at 1:05. We have another warning that's for somewhere else. So we're looking at a possibility of rotation here. Let's take a look. Let's get inside this storm now that we've kind of put a track on it and take a look. Some possible weak level rotation. I'm not seeing anything, too powerful right now. That, of course, could change, which is why we track these and we wait for these live scans to kind of rotate and give us live information, live feedback as it's happening. But let's zoom out for you just a minute because there's lots of heavy rainfall all around this storm. We've got the outer bands of a very strong system that continues to move in and out of the area. That's bringing some heavy rainfall. And I tell you, some of these systems, folks, are very rain wrapped. So it's very tough to see outside of these. So it's one of those that if you're, running outside and you want to try to see this, please don't. It's not the best idea because these systems, we've got so much rainfall right now that it's just tough to see anything. But if you were in the path of this storm, let's zoom in. Let's try to get a little bit closer to some of these street levels. Tallulah Falls, your area, Highway 23, where it intersects with 76. Again, once again, we're kind of meeting up against lunchtime where a lot of folks want to maybe head out and get some lunch. Stay put. If you live in this area, this is not a good time to do that. Let me zoom out a little bit more. This is heading to the north toward Franklin, west of Cashers, west of Clemson. In fact, Clemson's getting some heavy rainfall right now. But again, the strongest winds and the heaviest amount of rain is right here in Clayton and Turnsville. Again, a tornado warning in effect until 12:45 today, 12:30. This did have some radar indicated tornado, some possible strong rotation. So we continue to track this as it continues to push to the north. In fact, we are looking at this moving to the north. These systems are moving through pretty quickly, by the way. This one's not moving as fast. This one's moving to the north at 15 miles per hour. So let's zoom out in case you're just now joining us and put another storm track on this. Here you go, moving to the north. This will be in Watkins Mill in about 3 minutes. This will be in Franklin at 12:17, Cowie at 12:36, and then on to Greens Creek. Again, if you are in the path of this storm, take cover immediately. If we are talking to kids who are having school at home today, we've been saying this all morning long. If you're just now joining us, kids, and you're not sure what to do, if you're upstairs, go downstairs, get into the lowest floor or the lowest level of your home. Get away from a room that has a lot of windows, probably like a living room or dining room, right? You probably want to go for the bathroom. If you're unsure where to go, if an adult hasn't told you, then find a room downstairs, probably a bathroom, and just hang out there for the next few minutes until this storm passes, okay? It is a tornado warning that remains in effect for the next several minutes, possible rotation. We'll take a look at some of the winds in and around this. Again, possibly some upper level rotation with this one. Not seeing anything at ground level potentially just yet. That doesn't mean that that will not change. We've got a lot of tools here that give us the ability to kind of look inside some of these storms. This one also, by the way, does not have a lot of lightning with it, which is good. We are seeing some lightning, but it's more about the rain and the wind and the possibility of rotation. This has been a very active area. If you've been following us for any time this morning, we've been following, Toccoa, Elberton, now Walhalla and Franklin. beginning to see some of these thunderstorms just fire up. These are part of the outer bands of the remnants of Fred. So we're beginning to see some of these pieces of energy kind of whip around and move across the area. And to the south of all of this is the remnants of the core. That is where the strongest winds are, and that is where we will see the greatest risk, believe it or not, for even more severe weather. So that will carry over into the next few hours, meaning the early hours of the afternoon, possibly through the time that a lot of you will be going to pick up your kids from school. I will say the one thing we have working in our favor here is this system is moving very quickly. In fact, the remnants, the core, beginning to push through Atlanta right now. So we're on the east side. We're getting kind of the heaviest amount of rain right now. We're getting some of those outer bands, some of the most severe part of this, but the strongest winds remain just to the south. So again, we're getting some of the severe weather now, but I do anticipate this to continue for the next couple of hours at least. So as we zoom in a little bit closer, Wahala, boy, you know already, you get a lot of rainfall. You're one of kind of those hot spots where the rain is drawn to. You're getting a ton of rain. You got some rainfall yesterday. You've gotten a ton this morning, and now you've got a tornado warning that remains in effect here for the next several minutes. So we continue to track this as this moves to the north at about 15 miles per hour. I'm joined now with meteorologist Sydney Sullivan. Sydney, what are you seeing right now?
Yeah, just what you were saying. You know, we are continuing to monitor this. Oconee County, you are right in the path. Clayton, Tallulah Falls area as well. As of right now, it looks like as far as rotation goes, I'm not really seeing any strong rotation at this point. Looking for any lofted debris. Could see some indications near Clayton at this point. So what lofted debris is indicating, this is not technically rain. This is anything that might be in the air other than rain. Could potentially see that right near Clayton. So if you are really in Clayton, Tallulah Falls, stretching right towards the border here, this is where things look to be the most active as it does continue working its way primarily towards the north. We'll put a track on here. At this point, we'll do it towards this area where you can see the reds. This is really some heavy rain as well. So Battle Creek, Camp Creek Church, Wolf Creek Church, New Hope Church. If you are in the line of this possibly tornado, you definitely need to get to the lowest level of your home. Put as many walls between you and the outside. Take cover, get to the lowest level of your home, your building, wherever you might be at this point. So still seeing heavy amounts of rain, still pushing through Tallulah Falls, Clayton, right near the border, and heads up towards Franklin. You will likely get in on some of this action as well. I do expect some of this to weaken at least briefly, but again, these storms are very fast moving, so that is good news. It gets out of our area pretty quickly, but it does mean we still have that potential for strong to severe storms, as well as even a few spin-up tornadoes throughout the rest of the afternoon and even getting us into the evening. So we're still continuing to monitor this. Not seeing any new reports, at least as of right now. Flash flood warning still in place for really our entire area as this does continue to drop heavy amounts of rain. And of course, wind is still going to be a concern with some of these outer bands moving in from Fred. So that's what we're looking at right now as we continue to monitor this. Perella, are you seeing anything?
You know, I tell you, it's been interesting because we were talking about earlier this morning, it's going to be, mid-morning through the afternoon is kind of that hot spot, that sweet spot. And boy, starting around 10 o'clock, Sydney and I have been tracking these tornado warnings basically for the past several hours. The hot spots definitely have been, Toccoa, Elberton areas, basically Tallulah Falls, where we're seeing this right now, and Clayton. These have been the areas that have kind of been a bit more primed, if you will. These are the first areas that had the tornado watch at 4 o'clock this morning. Those will expire here in about another hour, and then those tornado watches kind of take over for the rest of our viewing area until tonight. But yeah, these are very strong storm, folks. And again, a lot of these we have seen rotation. Now, what's likely happening is we're seeing some very quick spin-ups because we're seeing rotation with these, and then they kind of die out or dissipate, and then they kind of pop back up. That's very common. That can happen, especially when you have winds whipping out of these outer bands from the remnants of these storms like what we have been seeing. And again, we've still got a couple more hours where we anticipate following storms just like this. So we'll go ahead and put another track on this. This one's moving to the north at about 30 miles per hour. And yes, we'll continue to see this kind of produce some heavy amounts of rain as we go throughout, the next several hours at least. In fact, we're looking at some heavy rain, a little bit of lightning embedded in these. And then, yes, we are looking at the possibility of some rotation as well. Okay. All right, looking like this is dying out a little bit to me, Sydney. I don't think this is really holding together too well. I do think that if you were in the path of this storm, go ahead and treat it like this is a tornado on the ground. Always, always, when you have a tornado warning. A warning means that it's imminent or it's already happening. In other words, it's just a second away. It's just, it's got all the ingredients. It could happen at any moment, or it's already on the ground. So this tornado warning is still active. Might not be in the next couple of minutes here, but we want to make sure that we stay with you and keep you updated until this does officially end. If you're along Highway 23, if you are along Highway 76, this is definitely where, the heaviest amount of rain is. The National Weather Service has decided to allow this tornado warning to expire, but we will likely see a few more of these as we go throughout the next several hours. So at the moment, just looking at some very heavy rainfall, again, in an area where we have a tornado watch. All right, so that's it for now. I know our noon show starts here any second now, so I'm going to turn it back over to our regularly scheduled program, and I'll be back with you here in probably a minute or less. Stay tuned.
Live, local, breaking news. This is WYFF News 4 at noon.
Now, in the event of a tornado warning issued for your location, you are asked to seek safety immediately. We are getting to that breaking news right now, actually. We're going to go ahead and toss it straight over to Perella Lewis, who's got the latest for us this afternoon. Perella.
All right, Destiny, thank you so much. I just restarted this computer here. There we go. Just took a second. Okay, a tornado watch is in effect for most of our viewing area. This is in effect for basically until 7 o'clock tonight. Okay, so this hasn't changed a lot. We are going to keep this in effect. In fact, for Toccoa, Hartwell, and Elberton, this will end for you at 1 o'clock. But you see, for the rest of our viewing area, this will be in effect until 7 o'clock tonight. Again, that's a tornado watch. On top of that, we have a flash flood watch in effect for basically all of our viewing area until tomorrow morning. So that right there shows you our biggest concern for the day. It is, of course, the rain, and it is the possibility of tornadoes. We've already had several tornado warnings throughout this morning. Here's what's going on. Here's kind of the big picture. We've got the remnants of Fred just to the south of Atlanta. So some of these outer bands, some of these stronger winds, and some of these heavier downpours just on the outskirts of that. That's what's coming through our area right now, and really has been moving through the area the past couple of hours. But the strongest winds still yet to come. The biggest lift in the atmosphere that will further destabilize things and continue our risk for severe weather. Well, that's going to carry over into the afternoon hours, unfortunately. Right now, some heavy rainfall across Franklin, Walhalla, Clemson, Anderson, back into Abbeville. You see a little bit of a break, a little bit of a hole right now in Toccoa and Hartwell, where you've had quite a bit of rainfall, but we've got another wave coming your way. So unfortunately, we are not done just yet. Now, the western half of our viewing area has definitely been the favored spot so far, but that's going to spread a little bit more as we go into the next few hours, again, as that core moves overhead. By the way, we've got a moderate or medium risk for severe weather for our entire viewing area. And again, this is just going to ramp up as we get into the afternoon. Our main concern continues to be flooding, some very strong thunderstorms, which you've already seen. And yes, the possibility of more tornadoes is definitely likely. As we go throughout the afternoon, it's going to continue. So as you're going to pick your kids up from school, you're likely going to need to stay weather aware as you're heading home, and even after you get home and you're having dinner. Some of this will still be around across the upstate and most certainly in the mountains as well. We'll take a more detailed look at this and the latest on the tropics as well. I'll have the latest on that coming up in just a few minutes.